Hey everyone, Chad Hasty here, host of the Chad Hasty Show, which you can listen to on News Talk 790 KFYO in Lubbock, Texas, throughout West Texas. Tune in to 790 AM KFYO. You can also listen online at KFYO.com. Download the Radio Pup app on your phone and search for KFYO. Take the show wherever you travel. A lot to talk about on the show today. We'll continue to take a look at the presidential primary for the Republican side. Good weekend for Ted Cruz and a little bit of a good weekend for Donald Trump, but a big weekend really for Ted Cruz out there as he went through and won a couple of delegates, won a couple of states, quite a few delegates. He's only, depending on the delegate count that you look at, he's only about 85 delegates or so behind Donald Trump, sometimes maybe up to 100 delegates behind Donald Trump, but he is within striking distance of Donald Trump, that's for sure. Both Ted Cruz and Donald Trump putting a lot of pressure on Marco Rubio to drop out of the race. It definitely was not a good weekend for Marco Rubio. Yeah, sure, he won the 23 delegates out of Puerto Rico, but big deal. Sorry, Puerto Rico. No one's going to think that's impressive except for the Marco Rubio campaign. So the big question that's out there right now is Ted Cruz the conservative alternative to Donald Trump? Well, yes, in many cases. No, in other cases, and here's why. The rest of the states going forward, at least according to conventional wisdom that's out there, not Ted Cruz friendly. Not Ted Cruz friendly at all going forward. That actually looks good for Donald Trump, maybe even Marco Rubio, John Kasich, but not so good for Ted Cruz. Now, could you say that if everyone else drops out and Republicans rally around Ted Cruz, then he could somehow surpass Donald Trump? I guess the argument could be made. In reality, it's going to be very hard to stop Donald Trump from getting the nomination. If you want to stop Donald Trump, you may have to do so by going to a brokered convention. That's something that Ted Cruz and Marco Rubio would probably like to avoid, but the math is just going to be hard for them to avoid that situation if they want to stop Donald Trump. It wasn't a disastrous weekend. People should not write off Donald Trump, and I don't think should write off Marco Rubio as well. But Marco Rubio and his campaign, they have to realize that they must win the state of Florida if they want to be viable. If they want to be a viable candidacy, even going into a brokered convention, they need to win the home state. This whole idea that they can come in second place or third place in Florida and they're going to compete in all 50 states, yeah, I guess you could, but it'd be a zombie campaign, just like you had with Ben Carson in many of these states. So Marco Rubio is in a very dangerous territory right now moving forward. It sure does look as though Ted Cruz is the conservative alternative to Donald Trump. The only problem for Ted Cruz is timing and delegate math. Can he get there? It's going to be very, very tough for Ted Cruz. But for Donald Trump, as long as he doesn't really screw up on the campaign trail and really implode, it looks like we're still heading towards Donald Trump winning the nomination. But I can definitely see the argument out there that Ted Cruz is the conservative alternative. He has shown that he can beat Donald Trump multiple times, that he can beat Donald Trump in Texas, he can beat Donald Trump in Kansas, he can beat Donald Trump in Maine. Who would have thought Maine would go for Ted Cruz instead of a Marco Rubio or a Donald Trump? That's absolutely amazing to me. So for Ted Cruz, great weekend, and he looks like right now he is in the driver's seat for the alternative to Donald Trump. Will it matter? Well, we'll see what happens. Don't forget to subscribe to the KFYO YouTube channel below. Subscribe to that and leave us your comments below. Like, dislike the video, spread it around, do all that kind of stuff. Follow me on Twitter, Chad Hasty Radio, and have a great Monday. We'll talk to you on the radio, 8:30 to 11 on 790 AM KFYO in Lubbock and online at KFYO.com.